In just a minute, we're going to zoom in on Bitcoin and look at a crazy price target that we have on the 6-hour chart, a continued bullish move for Bitcoin in play. I want to talk about it. ADA, we're going to zoom in on the 6-hour chart, start talking some targets. I want to break down what's going on in terms of ADA. One thing to note, in the Bitcoin segment, as well as the Cardano segment, I'm also going to talk about downside targets and what to look for, because we are really kind of getting into this environment of just up there in momentum, right? And so anytime that happens, I just think it's nice to use caution and just anticipate these things. And I'm talking about even in bull runs, like mega bull runs. Like this is in the middle of the last bull run. These things, anticipating those moves. That's the very least that I will say in that regard. I want to start on the monthly chart. Not so much to discuss what we've been talking about. Where will the monthly candle close? Will it break and close above? Well, it's already broken, but will it close above the 50-month moving average in blue? But look at this, everybody. Let's get some perspective here. Zoom out on the momentum oscillators, slower moving momentum oscillators. I'm just happy that we're not here. We're not in these bull market highs of momentum, these overbought environments. Do you see where Bitcoin is right now as we're making this move? It's coming out of the lowest it's ever been on the momentum oscillator. We're still just in this low territory of crazy undervalued in terms of Bitcoin. And that's just something I want to paint for context. No matter if Bitcoin continues to the upside or if it falls even in the short to midterm, even a 20, 30% dip, this momentum oscillator and what's happening, even on the quicker moving momentum oscillator, this is just bullish on the macro if you're a zoomed out thinker. And so let's start digging in though. We know the resistance that we are at right now. In the weekly, I'm not going to dig into it too much. 50-week crossing below the 200, but let's get to the exciting stuff. Look at this daily chart on Bitcoin. Just opened a new candle not long ago, around an hour ago, but even still, we see after these wicks that we saw in these previous candles, you might think Bitcoin might stall a little bit and start coming back down at the very least sideways. But right now, so far as I do the video anyway, and this could change overnight or as I'm uploading, right now, there's this green candle on Bitcoin, and it's getting tough to track structure if we're just kind of looking at this chart. It's like, man, Bitcoin just looks like it wants to keep going. And so for context to the move that's happening, I don't know if you saw last night's video. It was titled Initiated. Bitcoin just did something very special. And this is what it was. It was, if we're looking at the daily chart, and let me go to momentum oscillators on the daily, we had these areas on Bitcoin triggering, right? But namely this MACD line crossing the signal line above the histogram, above zero on the histogram. This is a big MACD cross because we compared it to a move that we had all the way back here. And this was this kind of a very similar exit of the bear market. So you know all of this if you saw last night's video, right? So similar areas on all of these momentum oscillators as to where Bitcoin is right now. Now, we're seeing on the daily chart that signal that we looked at yesterday, how this could spur and really, really initiate just a continued move to the upside. We start thinking it's going to stall, but all of these things happening, we've seen historically, they can lead to just continued upside when nobody's really expecting it. And so that plays into this chart, which is the 6-hour. We pivot to the 6-hour, and this is kind of what I'm looking at in terms of a breakout target to the upside. And then we're going to look at what a fall to the downside might look like. First thing is this. We have this obvious upper trend line, right? If you go to the daily, it's like, it's not as easy to spot, right? We have a lot of just mess, higher highs, of course, but you go to the 6-hour chart, and it's kind of like, okay, that's a pretty structured looking, nice looking upper trend line. That's that first area if Bitcoin's going to make a move to just above 25,000, just again, if it happens, is there resistance there? Now, if it makes the move there, here's what's interesting on this chart. We kind of have this very small left shoulder. We have this head, and we have now in play, I would say, this right shoulder. Not perfect, not beautiful. Oftentimes it's not, but we have this story. Bears coming in, bears coming again, bears coming in, and just failing, right, each time. And the bulls, can they succeed to set up the right shoulder and actually break this trend line? This is the big thing I'll be watching for in the very short term in this case where we get this insane bullish continuation that is extremely similar to if it happened back here when Bitcoin was exiting the bear market. And you can just see just bullish continuation when maybe it seemed like it was ready to cool off. So this is the chart, breakout target, close to 30,000, just under $30,000, 29,500 or so. That's what we're looking at. what does the downside look like? I want to explore that because we are where we are. Bitcoin is kind of going crazy. Crypto's going a little bit crazy. And there's so many even outside things that could actually bring this back down, right? It could cool markets down. If just traditional markets are cooling down for any type of reason, it could be a headline, it could be US dollar currency index just rallying like crazy to the upside. If something brings this down, this is what I'm looking for. It's not even really the 20-day moving average. Obviously, it's there as an area of support. It's just around $23,000. Could be a big drop for Bitcoin if we see markets fall. So 6% drop or so. But what I'm really, really looking for is kind of this area, this lower trend line now that we see on this daily, where Bitcoin has kind of hovered around as it's been consolidating upwards. But what's really important about this is what's coming into that area, this lower trend line. It's a 50-day moving average. Will Bitcoin test the 50 moving average? Whatever day that might be, and it will again. It will test the 50-day moving average. It's just when will it happen? Will it be fast? Will it be all the way like over here somewhere? Like it could take a while, but if Bitcoin falls and crypto falls, and this pulls into Bitcoin, what's happening at the 50-day moving average? Kind of more important for me, what happens for Bitcoin in between the 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average? More important right now than the 20. Breaking that 20 and getting extension and kind of the separation and cushion is very good. It's very bullish. It's what we wanted to see from a macro perspective, but it's continued support above all of these areas. The 200 is all the way down here at under $20,000. So what happens if Bitcoin does actually start being pulled into all of these things? Those are the areas of support. So that first area of support, if there's a big fall, $22,000 or so. I should say the first area of support, $23,000 at the 20-day, and then $22,000 below that. That's what I want to see if Bitcoin does consolidate. That's what I'll be watching. But here's that target. What happens at Bitcoin if it approaches 25,000? Is there resistance at this neckline? Things might get interesting watching that. Let's pivot over to ADA. This is ADA on the weekly. I just like to see weekly candles. And if you've been watching my ADA technical analysis, you all know I like to see weekly candles just closing above the 20-week moving average, just green line. That has been the bear market problem. It's been the brick wall for ADA throughout this entire bear market, and this thing that we've tracked and waited to break. It's been enjoyable doing some TA for a month or so as ADA hovers above the 20-week moving average. But let's kind of dig in and really start talking about what's going on. So on the ADA chart, if when I just look at this chart, and right now ADA just, it seems like it's sleeping, right? But let's be real. It's up from the swing low. It's up 70%, 69, 70%. Look at that. Now that's a big deal, because if we even just go at Bitcoin, which is, it's getting all the hype, right? It's been up. If we go to the Bitcoin daily chart right here, kind of zoom out, how much is Bitcoin up from the swing low, right? Just to put some context for ADA real quick. It is up around 60%, 59 or 60%. So ADA's outperformed Bitcoin. Let's get that out of the way. That's number one. But besides that, I know it's an altcoin, and oftentimes we look to altcoins to be a little bit more volatile, a little bit more aggressive in their move. ADA hasn't done it yet, but that's no surprise, because ADA, it kind of makes us wait. It's what it does, but when it moves, when it explodes, it just seems, and this is just over the years covering technical analysis for ADA, it just absolutely goes crazy. So as we see ADA breaking just all these areas, we had the 20-day moving average crossing above the 50, all of these moving averages now converging together. ADA is just kind of still above those areas right now, just consolidating, getting squeezed. It looks like it's ready, a pressure cooker, ready to explode. It looks like there's a huge move that is potentially in play, and that's kind of what I'm watching for right now. So let's dig into what that might look like, and after that, I'm going to talk about what a dip might look like in terms of ADA. So if we're looking at the ADA charts on the 6 hour, I want to break something down. It's messy. I like structure on the charts, and when there's not structure, I'm just like, man, what do we do here? So I just want to break down what I'm looking at. Obviously, this is what I'm talking about. There's not a lot of structure. There's definitely higher highs, higher lows. You know, there's a channel there. That's fine. The channels aren't my favorite type of structure. Probably many of you know that if you've been watching my TA for any amount of time. But what I am seeing here is this. We had this swing high back here, a nice drop to a swing low, and then a swing high. That's like that nice clean triangle that you see there. I like that. That's like the beginning of structure for me. So I have this upper trend line in place, and that is charted, but to the downside, there's not much going on. So there's a story for downside to create structure. I'm going to talk about in a second. But to the upside, in terms of ADA potentially breaking out to the upside, this is what I'm looking at. We have this upper trend line that's in play now, similar to Bitcoin testing an upper trend line right around 42 cents, 42 to 43 cents, waiting to see if ADA can make a move to that area. Is there resistance? And to give you an idea, it doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, ADA's cheap now, and it's still, that's like a 4 to 5% move. That's like a pretty green move. It's nothing crazy in crypto, but that's a pretty green move. It's 4 to 5%. What happens there? Is there resistance? So if there's resistance, that is potentially when we might start getting just real structure starting to come into play if ADA starts falling. But for a breakout target to the upside, if there is no resistance, I'm not really charting it, but you can just see there's clear structure here on the short term. This is a 6-hour chart. It's really not the prettiest structure, but it's a symmetrical triangle of sorts, and we're kind of seemingly really consolidating towards some type of apex. This wick right here is incredibly ugly in terms of charting this, but to me, that's what it looks like. It's just a symmetrical triangle consolidation, breakout target around 46 cents to the upside from that pattern. So that's something in play. If markets rally, if all of this crypto and Bitcoin charts, that initiated signal that we got yesterday, if it really plays out to be something ridiculous, 46 cents for ADA, I would say, is a nice target to the upside from where it is right now. That's a nice 14 to 15% move for ADA. Like, that's a big deal for ADA on the crypto charts. Not a 4 to 5% move. That's like a little bit bigger. Now, to the downside, pivoting to the daily, this is what I'm looking at. It's not so much the 20 or the 200. They're important. I want to see if there's support there, right? 38 cents or so. It's like right around 38 to 39 cents. Is there support right there? It's right below where ADA is. If it broke below that support, not too concerned, but I really am curious what happens at the 50-day moving average, 35 cents. Remember, especially I think with altcoins, when altcoins are falling, if crypto is falling, I think oftentimes from a moving average perspective, you might see these moving averages break. And I don't think it's an immediate, in that moment, especially on the daily chart, an immediate concern or this huge bearish indicator, because at the end of the day, what is in play for ADA in this macro pivot is a higher low, right? So obviously we want to see on the 6 hour, we want to see a higher low down here. So swing low to swing high. We would really like to see support around 36 cents at the 786, 37 cents at the 618. So 36 to 37 cents would be nice, because what is right below that? It's the 50-day moving average. This is what we want to see if there is consolidation, support there, right? Even if it's a big fall. But if we're being realistic, there's, even in a bullish scenario on the zoomed out, we have this higher low in play for ADA from the swing low to this current swing high. If markets go completely red, and it's possible, everybody, we can't ignore what's going on in the world. We can't ignore just the Fed and all these headlines that are coming out. We can't ignore all the possibilities that could bring crypto down. And so in a huge mass fall for crypto, let's just discuss the fact that the 618 down here around 30 cents, 786 around 27 cents, it's still in play. And it's not fun to talk about that at 40 cents, but I think it's wise to always anticipate those things. You zoom out on an ADA chart or a Bitcoin chart, and these huge drops, they happen all of the time. So it's something to just be prepared for. But those are the targets that I'd be looking at for Bitcoin as well as ADA. But let's see what happens on all of these charts. You go to a Bitcoin chart right now, for instance, this is what it looks like on the daily. Let's see how this plays out, especially even as I upload this video. And let's see if we can get some bullish breakout continuation. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.